right, so I'm doing a, we're going to call it 35,000 mile review on the tuning of my 6.7 Power Stroke. So it's probably slightly less than 35,000 to be honest, because so far I've put on the truck total since I bought it 35,220. I got it tuned I think a week or two after I bought it. So it might be closer to like that 33,000 mark, but we'll call it 35. I had at least 30,000 miles of tune on my last 6.7 Power Stroke that I can relate to as well, same tune. But just going over my thoughts, overall review of the truck, you know, tuned and deleted with the amount of miles I've put on it. So overall, I am definitely happy with the truck being tuned. I was not unhappy with the factory truck. I just didn't want to have to deal with DEF fluid. I didn't want to have to deal with potential issues related to the stock emissions equipment. That was my main reason for doing it. I've had stock trucks. Like I had a 1500 Eco Diesel that I towed with every day, almost with my work trailer, about 8,000 pounds. That I left complete. I bought that truck brand new. I left it completely factory for the 40-something thousand miles that I had that truck, and because I was towing so much, it just burned through the DEF. I mean, I literally drove around with like 2 cases of DEF at all times, and I hated it. It felt like every time I filled that thing up with DEF fluid, it was spilling on me and all over the place, and it just smells nasty. So, and it's a cost. Like, you know, depending on if you're running like the cheap of the cheap, you can probably get it for $10 for the 2.5 gallon, or maybe even cheaper if you're filling up at the truck stops. But you know, a lot of times I was buying it from like Home Depot or Walmart. I was getting the good stuff. It was $20 pretty much for a 2.5 gallon jug, and it felt like every 10 days or so I was filling it up. So and I wasn't driving nearly as many miles. You know, that's doing like 35,000 miles a year compared to, you know, the 100,000 I'm on track for now. If I would have left it factory, I'd probably be spending, you know, $30 a week, maybe more. So it's significant. You know, at the end of the month, it could be $120, $150 a month that, you know, I'm not spending on DEF. I'm not wasting the time to go get the DEF fluid or fill it up. I don't have to carry it around with me. So that was my big thing. And then with my previous 6.7 Power Stroke, which was a 2015, what pushed me into deleting that truck was my float inside of the tank. The DEF tank got stuck and it showed empty even though it wasn't empty, and it was gonna shut my truck off, and I just got frustrated. It fixed itself on the way to dropping it off to get tuned, but I said screw it, tune it anyways. So I was afraid that something like that could happen, or worse, when I'm out doing RV transport somewhere, you know, far away. Now I don't do anything super far, but you know, it could be 3-4 hours from my house, and it's like, at that point you're trying to navigate like, okay, how do I get this thing fixed? Where do I take it? How am I gonna get home? Like, it was all things that I personally just didn't want to have to deal with. So I went ahead and tuned and deleted it. I paid $1,900. That was a race tune, which is roughly 200 horse, and a 5-inch delete, just straight pipe. Now, as far as performance goes, I think the 6.7 Power Stroke stock and tuned are very stout. And I've had, like I said, the Eco Diesel. I've had a 4th gen Cummins with the 6.7 that was tuned and deleted. I've had 6.0 Power Strokes, straight pipe tuned. 2 and 7.3 Power Stroke that had tuned and deleted 6.4 Power Stroke. I think that's probably everything I've had as far as like diesels go. But my favorite diesel is the 6.7 Power Stroke that I've owned. But I will say my 2015 versus my 2019, my 2015 was a lot faster. I don't know why. It's the same tuner, same tune. I had a 4-inch mid-pipe delete on that truck, and I have a 5-inch full exhaust on this truck. The only other performance performance difference that I know of on that truck was it had a cold air intake, and I don't believe that's going to make a difference, but that 2015 was rowdy. Like, if you were going 50 miles an hour and you punched it, like, that thing would probably break the tires loose. I used to have fun, like, shouldn't admit it on radio or YouTube or whatever, but I would race people, and that truck just would eat. Like, I don't think I lost a single race in that truck. Granted, I didn't put myself up against like Z06s or anything, but I raced some SRT8 Jeep that I beat. I don't even remember what else I raced, but I mean, that truck would get up and go. And when I first got this truck tuned and deleted, I thought that it was just like the nicer truck that made me feel like it's not as fast. It's just because it's so much smoother. It's not as raw. I don't think so. I think that 15 was just rowdy, and this 19 is not nearly as fast. Like I said, I have no idea what would cause that. As far as I know, everything's healthy on this truck. Everything seems to be running good. It just doesn't have that aggression that the 2015 had. Same transmission, so same rear end differential. I think they're both 355s or 352, whatever it came with. But they both came with that gear. Both had the 6-speed transmission. And it just, I don't know, that 15 was much rowdier. Much more fun, raw feeling truck to drive. With that said, the 2019 is light years ahead as far as comfort and just everything else that goes into a newer truck. Rides better. Seats are more comfortable, I would say. I do think the 2015, unrelated to the tuning, I think the mirrors that came on the 2015s were slightly better. And I do believe that the Sony sound system that was in my 2015 Lariat is better than the Bang & Olufsen sound system that's in my Platinum here. But other than that, everything's better about the newer truck. Would I do it again? Absolutely. I would absolutely tune and delete any truck that I get. As long as funds allowed it. I know that it's probably a lot more expensive. Like, if I were to go out and buy a brand new F350 right now with the 6.7 Power Stroke, let's say the HO, it's probably going to be a lot more than like $1,900 to tune and delete it. I know like an L5P, you're probably $5,000 minimum to tune and delete those. So if I ever put myself in a situation to own one of those, that's a pretty hard pill to swallow. $5,000. Like, honestly, it would keep me from buying probably an L5P. I think the newer Cummins are kind of expensive to tune and delete, so I feel like that would be a limiting factor. Sorry, my truck is, I'm pulling a park model trailer, and it's catching the wind, and my truck is thinking I'm swerving when I'm not. It's just swaying. So it's telling me I need to rest. But, I mean, that would definitely play a factor into buying again, because I absolutely hated having factory emissions on my EcoDiesel, to the point where that's one of the main reasons I got rid of it, as well as I got rear-ended in it, and that truck just, it was never the same afterwards, and just all that stuff compiled, I just decided I didn't want to deal with it anymore. Yeah, so I mean, that would definitely be a factor. Me buying a truck today, I would have to look and see what it costs to tune and delete, and if an L5P was twice the price of like the tuning and deleting of a Cummins or say a newer Ford, I probably would just steer away from the L5P, because I just hate the factory emissions, to be honest with you. I know that's an opinion, and some people probably run factory emissions truck, have zero issues, put a ton of miles on them. I just don't trust the factory emissions, and just prefer to delete them. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If let me know if there's anything I should look at to see whether or not, or why my 19 would be slower than my 15, or if you have experience, you had like a 15 or 16 and it was also faster, like let me know. I'd be interested to hear that as well. You know, and also just let me know, you know, your opinion on tuning and deleting. Maybe you think I'm crazy, or because it's technically against the law or whatever. Maybe I'm a bad person, I don't know, but I have a feeling a lot of people probably have the same opinion I have on it. And I just, you know, put it in the comments. If you like these videos, definitely subscribe to the channel, give the video a like.